it's great to get everyone together. Doing it in the high schools and the junior high. This is your platform to say things that you wish parents or teachers or adults or other kids should know, especially kids that might be going through tough things. Raise your hand if you've ever felt anxious in your life. Who here feels anxiety with social media? Just give us a little insight into what about that gives you some anxiety.
Like if you post something and it doesn't get as many likes as you wanted, or like you posted something that really meant something to you and nobody commented or liked it or anything like that.
Like growing up as like a woman now, like growing up with social media, I feel like there's a lot of pressure around like the way your body should look and the way you should act as a woman, and I feel like social media has had a lot to play into that, which just gives me normal general life anxiety because of it.
Yeah, I think expectation, whether that's I put that on myself or the world puts that on me, just like to have a life that looks a certain way.
How about bullying? Bullying happen a lot more on social media now?
Yeah, like no matter what, it's always gonna happen. No, even if you have like the best like people around you and all that, you're always gonna get bullied. Instagram and all that, it's just gotten worse.
How many of you have ever felt depressed?
I feel like this is like every teenager's worst nightmare, like being left out. Like when you have like a group of friends and they're all doing something, but you're the only one that's not invited, you get like anxious or sad.
One thing that does kind of just often bums me out, especially I feel like it gets amplified with social media, is just like I feel like you're just so pressured to have an opinion on all this junk. And like me being kind of, I like to please people and I like to have people like me. And there's so much like that I'm not even educated enough to have an opinion that I feel like I'm forced to make an opinion about just to have someone like me.
If mental illness is mentioned, people are automatically like, oh, you're not depressed, you're just doing it for attention. You're feeling like this because you want attention. And it's just like, this mental illness has got so, like, the perspective of it is just so wrong.
Everyone has a mental illness these days. Everyone has, anxiety or is bipolar or has OCD, when in reality, it's not everyone. And those who actually suffer with it and have been diagnosed and are taking medication or therapy or whatever, they get lumped into that group of people that are just doing it for attention, and it makes it so that nothing's valid. Everyone's pretending. So it sucks. It's not fair.
Who here has ever got to a place that the thought of suicide popped into their brain?
I didn't have good influences in my life, and I had these people who would just tear me down and didn't, like, just would pressure me into doing stuff that I didn't want to do. I actually attempted suicide, and obviously it didn't work. I was like on the phone with my grandma, I think, and I was praying because I'd always believed like there was a God, but I never really like had like a firm faith. And I was like, okay, I don't know. So I prayed, so I overdosed, so I threw up, and I don't think I would have died, but I definitely would have had liver damage if I didn't. And then my mom took me to the hospital and stuff like that. But that was definitely my turning point.
When those thoughts came into your mind, what lie was popping into your head at that moment?
For me, when I had like a lot of my thoughts of attempting suicide, I was in the midst of an eating disorder, and I had opened up that I was having an eating disorder, and all of my feelings that I put out were immediately shut down. Like, why are you doing that? Like, that's stupid. And at that point, I just felt like that was like the only answer was just like nothing else that I was ever gonna say was gonna be valid.
Like, I haven't talked a lot about this to a lot of people, but when I moved here, after 7th grade, like, everyone, like, my whole family was just so happy, but, like, I didn't have any friends, and, like, on social media, seeing all my friends back from where I moved from, just being happy and get better. In the moment, like, the lies that were just telling you nothing was going to get better. It was going to be this way forever, and everyone's going to enjoy it except you, and you're always just going to be behind the scenes, like underneath your shell of happiness. You're always going to be depressed and not happy.
When I was going through like that really, really like dark time, I didn't go to youth group, so that definitely did not help. But I know like even now, my small group, they're I know, like we talk about very personal and vulnerable stuff, and they just help me through it. And they also help, not just helping me through it, just like in general, but they're also helping me through it with God. They're also leading me in the right path with God, which I've never really had before.
Youth groups helped because like every week we do small groups, and inside that small groups is like at least one leader who's there to listen to you. And when you have issues, you could always talk to him and he will listen. And that's just reassuring to me because you'll always have at least one person to talk to.
A youth group is just like a kind of a entrance and a starting point. Like for me, it was just like I was kind of a Christian, but it was whatever, and it was just like a starting point, not only in my growing in faith, but just like growing and being vulnerable with other people and being honest and growing and having mentorships. It just started with like one leader and just kind of talking to him and being somewhat vulnerable on Wednesday nights, and then that grew to now like talking with you, Heath, and like talking like super close with like some of my friends in my small group, and being vulnerable with them and being vulnerable with my small group leader.
It just encourages me to continue to have the environment where open and honest relationship is fostered. The number one thing that I've seen students need in their life are Christian, older mentors to pour into their life, to be that voice of reason. Every student needs someone to invest in them, and that the best person to invest in them is somebody who's already gone through the season of life that they're in. One of the things I do love about relational discipleship is that it can take place in every environment. It is students getting together with a adult leader, with a handful of other students, having those conversations, being vulnerable, talking through where they're at and what they're feeling, building those relationships that they can be encouraged through.